The Brooklyn Nets lost the James Harden trade. Hey guys, Emmanuel here, and before I jump into this video, I just want to ask you guys to give me the HBO special, and that is the Help a Brother Out. And you can do that by hitting the subscribe button and leaving a like underneath this video. I'm not one for long intros, so let's jump back into what I was talking about. Ben Simmons is becoming a liability for the Brooklyn Nets. It's been a year now since the infamous James Harden-Ben Simmons trade, and I think enough time has gone by in order to finally have a verdict on that trade, and the verdict is in. And the verdict is the Brooklyn Nets got finessed. Last night, the Brooklyn Nets played against their rival, the Boston Celtics, and I say rival with a bit of irony, and the reason is last year, the Boston Celtics completely embarrassed the Nets and swept them in the first round of the playoffs. And in fact, fun fact, if you look at the last 11 games that these two teams have played against each other, including the playoffs, the Boston Celtics have won every single one. It's actually pretty hilarious. But last night they played again, and the Boston Celtics gave the Brooklyn Nets a beating of a lifetime. At one point, it was 46-16. I had to turn the TV off. They got absolutely crushed. Granted, Kevin Durant and Ben Simmons didn't play. And I have to give the Brooklyn Nets some credit because they managed to consistently stay good without Kevin Durant on their team. Good against everybody except the Boston Celtics. But it's Ben Simmons that I wanted to talk about today. And the reason being, he refuses to score the basketball. I don't mean he can't score the basketball. I mean, he will literally get the basketball and flat out refuse to put it in the net. Now, you can see how that is a problem when you're literally paid in order to dribble a basketball and put it inside of a basketball net, but it's getting bad. It's gotten to a point where his fellow teammates now just won't pass him the ball because they don't know what his intentions are with the ball. And it makes sense. If I know you're not trying to score the basketball, what's the purpose of me passing it to you? And it's also gotten to the point where his teammates have to tell him to shoot. Here's a video of Kyrie Irving literally being frustrated at Ben Simmons being right next to the basket and refusing to shoot the ball.
Play right back and game defensively. Neal started the game well. He had 13 points with 3 threes. Inside, Simmons left it on the iron. Claxton got the rebound. What a play, Jordan Poole. And then Draymond. Inside.
As we found out this week, only on mute. Apparently does not listen to the announcers. Simmons underneath. Could have taken the shot, didn't, kicked it out. Watanabe fouled on the drive.
It's out and running. Irving. Simmons didn't.
I don't know about you, but I can't imagine playing professional basketball in which money's on line because these players are getting paid millions of dollars. And when you're playing an opposing team, you have to teach your teammates mid-game how to play the game of basketball. I think if you're doing that, you're at a severe disadvantage. And that's exactly what Kyrie Irving was doing in that video. It's so absurd when you watch that video. And it gives me greater insight into what Joel Embiid was going through with Ben Simmons in Philadelphia. I always never really was okay with seeing Ben Simmons as a bust or a guy that couldn't play. And that was because I didn't really follow the Philadelphia 76ers that much. But seeing him on the Brooklyn Nets has opened my eyes to the fact that Ben Simmons can't play basketball. Like, Ben Simmons isn't a good basketball player. And that's just the eye test. If you look at the numbers, it tells an even grimmer story. This year, Ben Simmons has been averaging, get this, a whopping 7.4 points per game. I'm going to say that again. 7.4 points per game, 6.5 rebounds per game, and 6.4 assists per game. Mind you, this is in a season in which Kevin Durant has missed the bulk of the season. Meaning that with Kevin Durant out, it serves to reason every player on the Brooklyn Nets is going to get extra touches and extra opportunities to score and up their numbers. And that's what I would expect of Ben Simmons, but that's not the case. He's regressed, right? If you look at 2021, the last time that Ben Simmons played a full NBA season, he averaged 14.3 points per game. That is almost double what he's averaging this year. His productivity has fallen in half. In that same year, he averaged 10 field goal attempts per game. This year, he's averaging 5.9 field goal attempts. Again, that's almost half of what he averaged in 2021. I don't know about you, But if I were Kevin Durant, if I were Kyrie Irving, and if I was Sean Marks, the GM, I would be looking at these numbers with great concern. Why? Because they are paying Ben Simmons $35 million a year to be a liability for their team. For reference, he is the second highest paid player on that team, only second to Kevin Durant. He's paid more than Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving only makes $34 million a year. That is such an absurdity to me that I can't square that circle, because the Nets got rinsed out of that James Harden trade. Because in return, although they did get back Seth Curry, they got the worst version there has ever been of Ben Simmons in the NBA. Not only did they get back the worst version of him for a MVP caliber player in James Harden, they're paying him superstar caliber money to be a walking liability for them. A liability in which they are not even playing him in the fourth quarter anymore. Yes, that's right. It's gotten to the point where they don't play him in the fourth quarter because he literally makes them worse. It's just a mess. It's insane. It's a mess. And this glaring flaw in Ben Simmons is going to get magnified. It's going to get even bigger come playoff time. Like, it was one thing to be playing with Joel Embiid and expectations were high, but it's a different thing when you're playing with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in New York. The media in New York is greater than Philadelphia. You're going to come into question. If Ben Simmons thinks the fans in Philadelphia were worse, he has another thing coming with the fans in Brooklyn. Because you have Kevin Durant, you have Kyrie Irving, and Ben Simmons was supposed to be the guy that was supposed to help them get over the hump with the Boston Celtics, and he isn't even able to play in the fourth quarter. He's going to hear it from every single fan in the building. He's going to hear it from every single talking head on sports television. Ben Simmons cannot play professional basketball. I've never seen anything like this before. He will get exposed in the playoffs with whatever team the Nets are playing against. Either this is what's going to happen. Either teams are going to exploit the fact that the Brooklyn Nets have a scoring deficit in which their third guy can't score to the capacity they thought they were going to be getting, or the Brooklyn Nets are going to have to bench Ben Simmons. And fans aren't going to be too happy when Ben Simmons is benched in a fourth quarter in a playoff game against the Boston Celtics, and they look up his contract and it says $35 million. Something has to be done about Ben Simmons' productivity or lack thereof. I've never seen anything like this before. I think it's mental. I think it's totally mental. I think that playoff run in Philadelphia in which his team completely turned against him, it must have done something in his head. Something there, his confidence level must have broken. I don't know how you fix this. Maybe you get him a sports psychologist. I've never seen anything quite like this before. I mean, the man is literally terrified, shook, frozen to do his job. It's absurd. I don't know how he went number one overall. When you look at Ben Simmons, I don't know how he went number one overall. Is Ben Simmons a bust? Let me know in the comments below. Does he still constitute a bust years later if he isn't even able to play basketball to the point where he can score 10 points a game? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think he's a bust? All these years later, 7 years into his NBA career. Let me know in the comments below. But yes, guys, if you like this kind of content, this is the channel for you. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and leave a like underneath this video. And until next time, kids.